So section 5 and the last section. Here I'm going to talk about components of the immune system. Like you can see again, we do have B cells and T cells, which going to be under lymphocytes umbrella. B cells, they're going to produce antibodies, and T cells, they're going to produce cytokines. I guess remember that it was like the one that would act as a siren, in which would just do the alarm for the body and would just attract like more white cells to just come and fight with the microbes or other substances that gonna produce harm to our body. Here is just another important part, phagocytes. We already talked about that. You can just see two different types of them. So the main responsibility of phagocytes, it was just eating those invaders or residue of microbes in body, or just in general eating any enemies in our body. We do have some auxiliary cells, for example, basophil, which gonna be responsible for inflammatory mediate. I mean, they're gonna act as inflammatory mediators. And lastly, it's gonna be tissue cells. And here you can just see like the whole sequences of immune system in our body. What else? Here we're gonna talk about immunity, or which the first part gonna be humoral immunity, and it is all about B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, which we already talked about them. B lymphocytes, they're gonna be responsible for production and secretions of antibodies, and T lymphocytes, they're gonna kill again all invading organisms and infected cells. There is another system which is very important. This is like kind of like similar to let's say our like blood system. It is like lymphatic system, and the responsibility of lymphatic system is like the drainage of the body. For example, whenever like I already mentioned in cardiovascular system, in which like for example, yes, heart's gonna help our muscles and our cells, like the whole body, to get fresh blood with all the oxygens. But what about like those kind of fluid that is not really good to just be inside of our body and should just get out? The drainage responsible, like the drainage gonna be done by lymphatic system. So there are again some disorders related to the immune system. First of all, gonna be AIDS. AIDS gonna be caused by HIV virus. I guess you all are very familiar with that. So basically, what AIDS are gonna do is just weakening your immune system. So basically, you might just get very vulnerable with just a small flu, or with just any teeny tiny microbes out there. So your body cannot fight with anything, because your body is not that much strong to just have a good immune system. Um, as of now, I heard there is no cure for AIDS. Yes, I can just see the news. They are just saying that they actually produced and developed a shot that can just prevent AIDS. I'm not sure. But the best way for someone who already got HIV is just helping them with medicine to just be more strong and help them to just live longer. Another problem gonna be lupus, like another disorder. I guess you are familiar because there are so many celebrities with this disease. So basically, it is lupus is just autoimmune disorders in which like your body itself gonna attack your own cells. So there are so many reasons for that, but none of them are like some sort of a specific reason. All we know is, for example, diet or region that you live, or let's say allergens, a stress level, they can trigger developing lupus disease. Um, I guess some of the celebrities that I know them off the top of my head is like Selena Gomez, Nick Cannon. They are just fighting with these disorders for a long time. There are like other disorders related to immune system, but they can just all fall under autoimmunity system, autoimmunity disorders, in which like your body attacks its own tissues. So it is like Freddie Mercury, I guess. He was like this. main singer of Queen band, and he had HIV, and he died out of just having HIV for a long time. So there is another story here that I want you to just check the YouTube video and just read about it. It is about a chef, or let's say a cook. Her name was Mary Mallon. She was from Ireland, I guess, and she came to the United States. I guess it was like in the beginning of 19, no, it was like 1908 or something. I cannot remember the exact year. But yeah, long story short, he came here and she was a cook for a rich family in New York City. The problem was she had typhoid disease and she didn't know that, or probably she knew, we don't know. But she would actually spread the virus everywhere and make every family in New York City that she was cooking for them sick. It's been like a minute that she did that, and it actually caused some sort of outbreak in the city. So one of the rich family, they actually hired a detector to just understand who is actually causing this disease. Long story short, the detector actually tracked down and they found that this is like Mary, and she does have like that kind of disorder and disease inside herself, but she doesn't have any sort of obvious sign or symptoms that that could be detectable for everyone out there. So they actually put her in quarantine, and so she was just isolated for like I guess 2 or 3 years, and like authorities, they were just checking on her. So she couldn't work at all. She was in the hospital. But after like I guess 5 years, they stopped checking on her. So she changed her name. I guess she went by Mary, I guess Brown or something. Like she changed her last name, and she started working in Manhattan for other rich families again as a cook. Long story short, again, there was another outbreak because of her. And again, they tracked her down and they found out this is again Mary that's gonna cause this disease. So they put her in the hospital, I guess her whole, the rest of her life. So it's been like, I guess 20 years that she lived in isolation and all that. So long story short, there are like some people, they are like advocates of people like Mary. They are saying that, okay, if someone has a virus, they shouldn't be isolated. They should live like a free person, even though they might cause like the virus or the bacteria or the microbes to just be spread in the city. But that's fine. We have to respect people's freedom. This is the same story for coronavirus. I guess you remember that. There was like, in the beginning, there were like people that were just saying that, oh, it is a plan from, I don't know, from governments, that kind of stuff. We have to end the lockdown. We wouldn't stay in our houses because of the virus. We are not sheep, and like that kind of stuff. We do not consent to just do that yet. So they were not getting vaccine and all that because they feel like it's not a correct way to go. So there was a debate, you all remember that. So if we would just actually think about Mary's story and also Corona's story, like the COVID-19 outbreak, we can see a common ground here. This is definitely for Mary, it was some sort of lack of communication between public health and also the government, because like a person like her, they shouldn't actually isolate it. On that way, there should be a cure for her. And if not, they actually had to just think about providing her some activities or some sort of plans instead of just putting her on a bed in a hospital to just stay there for the rest of her life. But I'm very curious, what's going to be your opinion about that kind of situation related to Mary and related to COVID? So if someone does have the virus, should they stay home and quarantine themselves? Should they get the vaccine and follow the instructions that government actually give them, or they should live free? Like you can see here again, I mean, there were like so many people, especially in New York City, they were just following like that kind of idea that we're gonna live free and die instead of just stay in quarantine and isolated. So it's gonna be one of the prompt for your discussion post. I'm gonna ask you, I mean, this is gonna be one of the questions, but they're gonna be another prompt as well. I'm going to ask for your opinion to just tell me what would you suggest as someone who is from the new generation about situations, about outbreaks like that? Should people stay home and get isolated in case there is no vaccine for them, or in case if there is a vaccine out there, should they get the shot or no? Or they should live free. I really want to know the new generation's opinion. Um, and I'm just trying to not, I mean, you obviously know my opinion, but I'm just trying to hear this time. And there is no wrong or right answers here. The only point is you have to just check your textbook, each chapter. And if, for example, you are saying that those people, like people with the virus, should just live free in the society, they have to go to work because they have to make money for their children or spouses, I don't know, that kind of stuff. You have to just tell me a solution from your book. For example, yes, they have to do that, but they can just wear masks. Or for example, based on the book, since for example COVID-19 or any other disease that you want to example, gonna be transmitted via, I don't know, touching surfaces or other stuff, so they can just wear a mask and just prevent spreading the virus. I need like a good reason instead of just personal opinion. Yeah, I feel like everybody with COVID-19 should just work out there because it's okay, in my personal opinion. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be based on your textbook. It should be based on an article that you read and you're gonna cite in your discussion, or it should be like based on the lecture or something like that. So we are almost done. I mean, we are definitely done for chapter 2. It was a big chapter, and it is very helpful for our next chapters because, like, we're gonna talk a lot about mental health and all that. And without knowing, for example, physical health, it's just very important. We cannot like make a decision about people's well-being and health, and we cannot talk about health psychology. So that is all for now, and thank you so much for listening to me.